Hi, it's Gordon Andrus here again. I want to make a quick little video to explain a couple of things about this swivel knife sharpener. Again, it's an inline swivel knife sharpener, and what I've got here today is three different 3/8 inch swivel knife barrels. I just want to quickly show you how this works. The knife is held in this bushing with these two little set screws. They're nylon tipped, and so they take very little pressure to hold the knife. If the knife goes through the bushing 1.5 inches, then it will produce a 30-degree bevel on the blade. So yeah, that's a better position. Okay. So the knife will protrude 1.5 inches. This tube is 1.5 inches long. And then the important part here is that these two set screws be tightened up in line with the edge of the blade, not the middle of the blade this way. If there's any play in this bushing, then the knife can get pushed. If you set it up this way, the knife can get pushed to a point where the bevel might be end up being a little bit different from one side to the other. As long as the screws are tightened in line or snugged in line with the cutting edge this way, with the edge of the blade, if there's any play in the bushing, it pushes the knife over, and the bevel will be the same on both sides of the knife. So it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of play in the knife. This is a beautiful Chuck Smith knife, an old smoothie. There's a little more play in this one because the knurling is finer. And so as long as it's put in the bushing in line with the edge, then when you turn it over from one side to the other, the bevel remains the same. Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to clarify about here. So let me take this out. I'll put this Henley in. I need to open it up a little bit more. There we go. So I have it protruding 1.5 inches. And make sure that the knife is in line, that the blade is in line with the set screws. These are nylon tipped. They take very little pressure to hold the blade securely. Then it just easily goes into the handpiece. Snug up this little screw, and then you can see it'll rotate in the handpiece so that you can sharpen one side of the blade, and then simply rotate the blade, the knife, the whole knife, and sharpen the other side. Now, this is the second part that I want to clarify here, is that the knife is sharpened so that the striations are made in line with the cutting edge. This is a little bit different than most of us learned about sharpening knives when we were taught to sharpen against the edge of the blade, which would help in the burr removal. As you sharpen, a small burr starts to form on the cutting edge, and by cutting in this direction into the edge, then that burr can be sharpened and fall off. The problem with sharpening into the edge, the way that we traditionally or have always done with the sharpeners that have a roller on the bottom so that they roll in this direction, is that it puts serrations in the edge of the blade, which works great for cutting some kinds of materials. materials that like to, that if there's a microscopic serration, it might help to cut certain materials. But in leather, the fibers in the leather will grab a hold of those microscopic striations. So a better edge is the edge that's closest to like a piece of broken glass, so that there's no striations in the edge. To achieve that, we have to sharpen in line with the cutting edge of the knife. So that's what this system is set up to do. On the coarser grits, these are sharpening films. You get them in a 8.5 by 11 inch sheet, and this one happens to be 30 micron, 9 micron, 3 micron, and 1 micron. And at 100 micron, I said 30, this one is actually 100. At 100 micron, the grit is coarse enough to want to grab a hold of the edge and maybe cause the blade to sharpen unevenly. So if you're needing to remove a lot of material, then you will have to go on a slight diagonal or straight into the grit, straight in this way instead of side to side. But once we get to, this is I believe that's 30 micron, and then down to a 9 micron, anything this fine, you're safe to start sharpening in line, and then that way all the scratches that come from the sharpening will be in line with the cutting edge, and they will tend to slide. The knife will slide through the leather much more easily than if you sharpen straight in this way. Then by the time we get down to a 3 micron or 1 micron, we're just polishing that edge. And 1 micron or finer, maybe a half micron, is the range that our strop rouge will be in. And so we're actually polishing the blade at this point, but in a nice flat edge. So this way it'll glide through the leather much more easily. The width of the sharpener is such that it doesn't want to rock, and provided you seat the blade firm, flat on the sharpening medium, you'll get a perfect edge every time. Thank you.